Royal guards are known for their unyielding discipline and unwavering presence, even in the face of relentless distractions.
Stand back!
Yet many visitors fail to respect their role, treating them as mere photo opportunities rather than the symbols of British tradition and duty they represent. This behaviour is not only disrespectful, it's dangerous.
Get back from the Queen's Guard!
From attempting to make them smile to blocking their paths for that perfect shot, tourists often engage in ridiculous antics. What many fail to understand is that these soldiers are not performers. They are real military personnel with serious duties to fulfill. In this clip, we see one such example, a woman standing far too close to the horse of a royal guard. The horse, unaware of her presence, steps on her flip-flop. The woman, startled, tries to retrieve it, but the horse remains still, showing no signs of moving. The royal guards are trained to maintain their position, but when necessary, they will act. Here, the guard gently moves the horse back to allow the woman to recover her flip-flop. A clear reminder that getting too close to these majestic animals can have unintended consequences. Sometimes, the consequences of getting too close can be far more painful. In this clip, we see a man attempting to pet the guard's horse, but the horse reacts swiftly, biting down a little too hard on the man's hand. This isn't a rare occurrence, as these animals are trained for defense and can become agitated if they feel harassed. Horses, much like the guards themselves, are trained to maintain their composure, but they are not immune to discomfort. And when provoked, their reactions can be swift and unexpected. Sadly, some tourists ignore these warnings entirely, choosing instead to mock the rules and test the patience of both the guards and their horses. In this clip, we see one such individual repeatedly harassing a guard's horse, touching it over and over despite clear instructions from the police to stop. Even after agreeing to stop, the man doesn't heed the warning, moving to another royal guard's horse on the other side of the gate. He seems to find the situation amusing, laughing, joking, and treating it as if it were a game. Despite repeated warnings, some tourists see this behavior as a source of amusement. But make no mistake, this is harassment, not humor. These actions put both the tourists and the horses at risk, creating potentially dangerous situations for everyone involved. In another incident, a tourist tries to touch a guard's hat, a clear sign of disrespect. While the guard maintains his professionalism, stepping back to avoid her touch, the tourist is left stunned, seemingly unaware that her actions crossed a line. Many people mistakenly believe that these interactions are harmless, but in reality, they show a lack of understanding and respect for the guard's duty and the traditions they uphold. Sadly, not all disrespect comes in the form of playful antics or ignorance. Some tourists go beyond the bounds of decency, crossing into outright verbal abuse. In this clip, we witness a man, seemingly without reason, beginning to hurl insults at a royal guard.
You all backstabbed him. God bless you, all right, that's ring. How could he backstab you on the fucking...
His anger palpable, though the cause of it remains unclear. The Royal Guard, trained to maintain their composure in even the most hostile situations, does not react. His silence speaks volumes, showcasing the discipline and restraint that these soldiers embody. Yet, the disrespect shown here is undeniable. Such behavior is not only disgraceful, but shows a deep lack of understanding and respect for the role these guards play. Verbal abuse, though rare, is a stark reminder that there are those who fail to recognize the dignity these soldiers uphold, day in and day out. Getting too close to a royal guard's horse can sometimes lead to unexpected and painful reactions. In this clip, we see a woman, unaware of the potential danger, attempting to take a selfie with the horse. But the horse, clearly uncomfortable with her proximity, bites down on her ponytail. The woman seems scared, and understandably so. The horse's response was swift, and it's likely that the bite was more than just a warning. In another instance, a tourist stands next to the horse for a picture, unaware that her presence is making the animal uncomfortable. The horse reacts, this time pushing the girl out of its way with surprising force. While these horses are well trained, they are still animals, and when their personal space is invaded, they may react instinctively. For these tourists, a photo opportunity quickly turns into a moment of fear, perhaps even a little pain. In the next clip, a couple attempts to take a selfie with the horse. But before they realize it, the horse reacts swiftly, biting the woman's hand. This time, much harder than a simple warning. The guard, seeing the danger, quickly backs the horse away to make it release her hand. But it's clear from her expression that this time, the bite was more than just a scare, it was truly painful. These animals are not to be taken lightly. Their size, strength, and instincts make them powerful. And when tourists ignore the warnings, they risk serious injury. Another important rule that many tourists overlook is that the Royal Guard's horses are not to be fed by the public. This rule is in place for a reason, as not all foods are safe for these highly trained animals. Unfortunately, some people still find ways to bend or break this rule. Here, we see a tourist attempting to feed Marmite to one of the horses, a completely inappropriate and harmful action. The police quickly stop him, reminding him that this behavior is not just foolish, but potentially dangerous to the horse's health.
They're not your horses to feed, the working animals don't feed them, right?
However, there are exceptions to this rule. In this clip, a young girl with genuine curiosity and respect asks a royal guard if she may feed an apple to the horse. The guard, recognizing the gesture as kind and safe, agrees. The British Royal Guards are a symbol of unwavering duty. Day in, day out, they stand in their iconic uniforms, embodying centuries of history and dedication. But for some, this dedication is treated as an opportunity for mockery or attention.
Get back from the Queen's Guard!
In this clip, we witness a different kind of disrespect, this time from a teenager, an influencer hungry for attention. With his microphone in hand, he approaches the Royal Guard's horse, trying to interview it, making a mockery of the scene. It begins harmlessly enough, just a few ridiculous comments directed at the horse. A clear attempt to go viral by treating the situation like a joke. But soon, things take a turn for the worse. With blatant disrespect, he calls the guard sausage, mocking the man's silent, dignified duty.
Shout at him. Go on. Yeah, stop being so goddamn rude.
But it's not long before the crowd starts to react, disapproving of his childish behavior. Instead of backing down, the influencer escalates the situation. His mockery turns into an aggressive confrontation as he lashes out at the bystander who dared to challenge him.
Yeah, you fuck off. You rude bastard. Call her a sausage. What the fuck are you? You're a little sausage. You're a sausage. Look at you, little spastic. Fuck off. You're a little sausage. Go on.
An elder citizen tries to intervene, gently attempting to stop the video recording, but the influencer is having none of it.
Go on, piss off.
That's my face.
Piss off. Piss off. Piss off.
The situation reaches a boiling point. What started as an immature prank quickly turns into a confrontation. The influencer's disrespect for both the guard and the people around him threatens to spiral out of control. As tempers flare and the influencer attempts to fight the bystander, it's clear that things have gone too far. But just when it seems like the situation might get out of hand, the cops step in.
Sausage.
Without a word, the cops, trained to handle more than just ceremonial duties, move in swiftly. The boy's antics are no longer a matter of entertainment, but one of public order. In moments, he is restrained. Disrespecting the Royal Guards isn't just an insult to tradition, it's an affront to the values they represent. No viral video is worth crossing that line. Do you think this influencer took things too far, or was he just trying to have some fun? Let us know in the comments below. It's not uncommon to witness tourists and visitors trying to provoke or amuse themselves at the guard's expense. And sometimes, the behavior goes from playful to outright disrespectful. In this clip, a woman throws her glove towards a guard, seemingly expecting him to bend down and return it to her. But the guard, trained in discipline, does not flinch, not a single reaction. His composure remains intact, despite the woman clearly testing his limits. Why would she attempt such a disrespectful stunt? Regardless of her intentions, the guard's response, or lack thereof, speaks volumes about the training and restraint these men possess. It wasn't long before a senior guard arrived to address the situation, and understandably, he wasn't pleased. With stern words, he made it clear just how unacceptable their behavior was. But despite his justified frustration, the guard still maintained a level of courtesy. He retrieved the glove and handed it back to the woman, whose embarrassment was written all over her face. The couple quickly realized the gravity of their actions, leaving the scene without further incident. It was a humbling moment, a reminder that while the royal guards may appear unflappable, they are not to be treated as objects of amusement. They stand as representatives of a rich heritage bound by the duty to protect and serve. And no one, regardless of their intentions, has the right to disrespect that. In our next clip, we meet yet another visitor who, like many before him, decides that mocking the royal guards is a good idea. With a smirk on his face, the tourist shows a crude and childish gesture to the guard's horse, seemingly convinced that this tasteless act would make him the star of his own personal comedy show. Moments later, the tourist's cocky demeanor shifts as he spots a female police officer on horseback making her way toward him. Panicked, he quickly tries to cover his tracks, approaching her with an overly friendly greeting. Thinking he's in the clear, the tourist puts on an act of innocence, greeting the officer as if nothing had happened. Fortunately for him, the officer didn't see the initial disrespectful gesture. But then, in an astonishing display of foolishness, he repeats the offense. Unbelievably, he decides to double down on his immature stunt, flipping off the horse a second time, convinced that no one is paying attention. This time, however, he wasn't so lucky. This time, the lady cop saw everything, and she wasn't about to let him walk away without consequences. The tourist, realizing he's been caught, tries to make a quick escape, but the officer, calm and composed, follows him on a horse, keeping a watchful eye on his every move. Another officer on horseback soon joins her, ensuring there's no way for him to slip away. As the second officer arrives, the tourist's attempt to casually walk away becomes more desperate. Surrounded and unable to escape, he knows the game is up. It wasn't long before additional officers arrived, taking control of the situation. What the tourist thought would be a quick and harmless joke quickly turned into a sobering lesson. His brief moment of childish rebellion had caught up with him. While he may have found his actions funny at first, the consequences of disrespecting the royal guards and the law were far from humorous. Time and time again, tourists forget that the royal guards are not just part of the scenery. They are there to perform a duty, and that duty demands respect. In our next clip, we witness another troubling example of how some tourists cross the line in their interactions with the royal guards and their horses. Here, a man persistently tries to touch the royal guard's horse, ignoring the animal's clear signs of discomfort. The horse, trained to stay calm under pressure, tries to avoid the tourist's unwanted attention. But the man doesn't stop. Instead, he circles around, waiting for another opportunity to approach. But what happens next is not only disrespectful, it's downright disgusting. In an act of sheer disrespect, the tourist puts his hand in the horse's mouth, before licking it and repeating the vile gesture. The horse, uncomfortable and defenseless, is forced to endure this humiliating behavior. Believing no one saw his actions, the tourist tries to walk away unnoticed. But one bystander, a woman in the crowd, has had enough. A female bystander reports the tourist's disturbing behavior to the police, but in this case, the guard didn't seem to have seen the incident. and the situation is taken less seriously than it should have been. But this man wasn't finished. Emboldened by the lack of consequences, he approaches the horse once again, this time making no effort to hide his actions. The royal guard, trained to maintain composure at all times, finally reaches his limit. With a firm shout, he orders the tourist to step back, sending a clear message.
Stand clear of the guard!
The police, hearing the guard's command, quickly return to the scene. But instead of showing any remorse, the man tries a different tactic to avoid getting into trouble. With a mocking salute and fake politeness, the tourist tries to laugh off his behavior, attempting to convince the police that he was just being playful. But his actions speak louder than his words. Fearing the consequences of his actions, the tourist makes one final move. He bolts, running from the scene in a desperate attempt to avoid facing the repercussions of his behavior. Against all odds, the tourist manages to slip away, leaving behind a trail of disgusted onlookers and a frustrated royal guard. Though he escaped immediate consequences, his shameful actions won't be forgotten by those who witnessed them. While some may get away with their actions in the moment, the lesson remains the same. Respect is earned, not mocked. The royal guards deserve better than to be the target of foolish pranks or shameful acts. So, what do you think? Should tourists be more careful around the royal guards? Or is this just harmless fun gone too far? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe our channel for more content like this.